Every man lives, not every man truly dies.
Hello and welcome, my loves, to the Fluffenhammer. No cold open this evening, I'm afraid. It's really not my bag. I leave that to Gruff, and Gruff's in absentia. Does apologise, but I'm here, and so is our decayed zombie friend over there, Andy. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Same as usual. I'm cracking on. Stressing out about the cost of windows and doors for homes. That's been a thing this week.
Okay. That's the theme for the week, yeah.
Well, that's been my theme. I've got a new bedroom window, a new living room window, new French doors, and the front doors getting done on next Friday.
No!
And I've also had 8 windows sorted out for the upstairs for
Holy
soon
moly.
as well. Yeah, so money doesn't exist anymore. They're fucking expensive.
I can imagine, and that is like stress city.
Yeah, well, money,
that's
yeah.
The kind of thing that like stresses me the hell out. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
When you've got to have like people around and stuff stuff in the home being done. It's like, no.
Especially in the living room where I am now, where where they were working, and I'm just sitting here, and there's a hole in my wall, and there's a guy. Like the people who working were fine. It's just I don't know about you. It just feels awkward. It feels strange.
Don't like it. Honestly, I have a real thing about my space.
Yeah.
I really like my space being my space. And I know it's necessary. I absolutely know sometimes you need people in to get stuff done. You absolutely do. But it stresses me. It feels strange. It stresses me out. It's one of those things I really don't like, if I'm honest.
They had to be done though, because the windows were not even kidding over 30 years old, because they haven't been changed since I moved into this house. So
antique, basically.
Kinda, yeah. Some of the windows had like gaps in them. In my bedroom window, there were gaps. So potentially there could have been like water damage from moisture getting into the cracks and whatnot. There were those windows where if you put your hand on them, they were freezing cold. And now I put my hands on these new ones. I'm like, oh, they're actually room temperature. These are a little better, I suppose.
Yes, and that's going to be a bit more efficient down the line, isn't it? For heat retention and stuff like that.
I'll tell you that one of the other main reasons I did it was in the future when I probably will have to sell this home. If you don't have like current day windows, if they're not A grade or whatever rated they're going for, the amount that your house costs will be devalued. It'll be less because it doesn't have the. I don't know by how much, but they will take money off of your house's value. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll reduce the bills a little bit. I don't know by how much, and we'll sort out the future price of the house as well.
Yeah, good idea. Good move. And
so much money. Fucking hell.
I know. So no money for hobbying, I'd assume.
Well, there's the difference between house funds and hobby funds. I always split. Like what I can do for fun, and then what is necessary for like living and eating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Fighting your finances, financial.
So it's basically has become like a monthly cost, like something built into the budget. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd already planned and saved up for it, so it is paid for. It's just
brilliant.
One of those stressful things.
So what
'Cause
have you been up to hobbly wise?
Since the last time we did it, I think I got Usharon and painted that up. I don't think I'd done that
He
before we did the
is.
show.
He looks great,
Oh, thank you.
by the way. Oh, it's so striking. I love that scheme. I've got a thing about like simple color schemes for that, particularly for that kind of army, where it's supposed to be gothic and dark.
Mm.
It just works. It works so well.
It's easy, which is the
Yeah,
thing that
I mean,
helps me. It's just like it's easy to do, so no
absolutely.
issues.
Absolutely. It's so striking though. It works. It works really, really well. There he is,
There
big
he is.
boy. Big
Yeah,
boy. What
yeah.
a mini, eh?
It was nice to have such a big one. I didn't add too much to it, but I think Gruff sent me like, or I bought ages ago, like a little pack of like books, a little pack of little tiny plastic books. So I've stuck a plastic book on there, and that was about all I did.
Brilliant.
But that's
Brilliant. Have you got the
yeah.
book, Battle Tome?
Yeah. Well, I got the preview box, so it came with the book.
Oh, so it came with it, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I
it's a
got
good
that
book.
recently. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
really, really fun. I like. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the way they've done the flesh eater courts in AOS. I think it's a really interesting way of reinterpreting like your classic ghouls. And Usher. I mean, there's such like a note of sadness throughout it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because Usheron was as vampires go, as servants of Nagash go, he wasn't that bad a guy, was he?
Reasonably so, yeah. He seemed fine, I'd say.
He was until his ill-fated journey and now I mean he still believes himself to be a good guy, doesn't he? He still believes that he is doing the right thing and whatnot. But
what is reality, George? Is it your perception of the perception of everybody else?
It's a fair point. I mean, his reality is it's unstable, isn't it?
Yeah.
He can be like a different person from second to second, which I absolutely love. I'd love to see some fiction. I don't think there's a novel that features Usheron, is there yet?
I don't think so. I'd
love
so.
I
just don't think there's that much ghoul related. I know there was Ghoul Slayer, which came out a few years ago, which was pretty interesting. I like that, but even then, they didn't really feature the ghouls. It's just they were kind of at the end, and you kind of got a little of their perspective, but that was it.
And they were the kind of the monsters of the piece, weren't they?
They were the thing to die.
Focus. I'd love to see one of the more skilled writers from the Black Library take on a character study of someone like Usheron. I think it could be really interesting.
Did you like in the battle tome the mini story with the little artist? So the artist starts off painting the ghouls, and as it goes through the book, he starts drawing them more and more noble. It's really fun.
It's so cool. It's so cool, isn't it? It's like the madness is bleeding into him, right? And that's a big deal in this book.
Yeah.
The madness is somehow like you magically catch the madness somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all telepathic, isn't it? Seemingly.
Yeah.
Just
love it. I absolutely love it. And it's so nice to see them like as a dedicated force now, because now you can actually do something fun with them, right?
Yes.
It's not just like the limited hangovers from Fantasy Battle.
They're not just like the add-ons, like a half-assed add-on kind of faction, which they were for the longest time in AOS. Now they feel like an army of such.
They do, and with a proper background, and it feels like they've got a real, like they're a proper force as well, aren't they? Like they're stirring all over the old world. I mean, the note that really got me, which I absolutely loved, was the tragedy of them.
Yeah,
it's the fact that there's a portion of the book that talks about how, because war is so rampant across the realms, they leave people in desolation. Villages are left desolate, and people are left without anything to eat, and they're left in dire straits, and that it tends to be where the ghouls come from.
It feels like it would either be the ghouls or Nurgle could get you.
Nurgle. Exactly.
And I don't know which is better. I think generally the ghouls is probably better.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like either way, you're kind of screwed, aren't you? But
the ghouls aren't malevolent.
No,
when Nurgle is more so malevolent, not compared to the other gods, but the essence of Nurgle, like his existence, is more malevolent.
It's so difficult though, isn't it? Because like it depends on where you go with Nurgle. It starts off awful, obviously. Like it all like for all the chaos powers, it starts off awful. And but because of the way Nurgle twists your perceptions, you do start to enjoy what you
True.
are. You start to see beauty and truth in it. So
But the essence of Nurgle is to gather souls. He wants your soul. In a sense,
he
the
does.
ghouls don't really want your soul. They just kind of accidentally make you go crazy and believe what they believe. It's not a deliberate thing.
Yeah, they want the meat more than anything.
Once you become the ghoul, but they don't deliberately try and make you into them. It's just you just do.
True.
And
they don't even know.
Yeah, they don't know they're eating you alive, but they are. They just happen to be.
Aren't they? It's so weird. There is this strange innocence born of their delusion. They literally can't help it.
And oddly enough, look a lot like the creatures from The Descent.
They do. They really. I mean,
enough.
that's obviously a touch point, right? That's
You'd
obviously
hope
a touch point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love what they've done. It's that it's complexified them. It's made them. It's given you something to grasp onto. It's what I call like AOSing the armies, because that's what it seems to happen. It's like the Seraphon, right? Where they take like your bog standard fantasy archetype. Oh, it's lizardmen, like you find in every kind of hackneyed fantasy setting everywhere and anywhere since time immemorial. But they've taken that and turned it into something interesting, and it's the same here.
I still find with the Seraphon, the lore doesn't match what the models look like for me. If they're meant to be star creatures, it still doesn't feel quite right.
The latest book divides them, so you can have either one. You can have like the incarnate ones, which are they're still in essence the star creatures, but they're clothed in flesh. You know, they're not like or you can paint them up so they're all glowy and made out of star stuff, and that alters them slightly. That makes them slightly different. You can do either one, which is kind of fun. It gives you the option of either your classic archetype or your more AOS weirdy beardy prog rock album stuff. Which is cool. But yeah, I loved them, Andy. I think you've done a cracking job with those.
It wasn't just him. Recently, because the guys were working on the Windows, I was able to finish off the Warcry set and the Underworld set and the Priest as well.
Hell.
So I got a few of those done as well.
Wow.
Which was good. I was happy to. These have been like sitting on the desks for a while where they were nearly done already, and I just needed to kind of finish them off. Get back in the center.
But it really works. That sort of really pale grey flesh really works for them.
Yeah, it's just dry brush white and just keep dry brushing, and then eventually you get there. I like doing the bone on them as well, because the bone is different enough that it kind of pulls them out. I was with these ones because some of them wear animal bones and stuff like I was wondering if I should keep them as like grey. And I thought at the end of the day, no, because I wanted them to be grey. I didn't want them to drain the color out of everything else.
Yeah, and it gives them a bit of variety, doesn't it? It makes them pop a little bit. It gives them another spot color, with the red. No, it's a beautiful army, that is. And really, really.
I really like the Priest as well. The Priest is fun.
Wow.
Yeah, I particularly like his little staff with the vampire skull on top.
It's great,
the beating heart in the center of it. That's really fun. My only issue was I couldn't tell like where his eyes were, because I wasn't sure if the hat was covering his eyes or not.
Yeah.
And I just decided they were. It would make life easier if he was just coming by
you don't have to paint the eyes then, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's fine, whatever.
Makes life a lot easier. That
exactly. That'll do. That's fine.
Brilliance. Yeah. Absolute brilliance.
Thank you. But that's my hobbying really. Before I've got like more dry brushing to set up, and because the better weather's coming in at some point when I've got free time, I'll need to start moving to doing Necron stuff, since they need to be airbrushed. Yeah,
they do. They do.
Yeah.
Oh, the Necrons, and they're doing bloody well at the moment as well. They're kind of sitting pretty in 40k. They are.
Oh, okay. In terms of wins, or just in terms of...
in terms of, in lots of different ways, really. I mean, like, obviously they got one of the more recent codices, the 10th ed, and it's really, it's so good. It's so good. But they've got lots of nasty tricks,
Hmm.
lots of nasty, naughty little tricks. They're really mobile, like really for what's ostensibly like an undead army in 40k, which is kind of what they are. They've got so many like teleportation tricks and things where they can phase in and out of reality and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're kind of difficult to deal with.
For now.
And that bloody reanimation protocol thing where they come back. I mean, I'm telling you, in 10th there, that makes it's the kind of rule that it makes an army pretty killer, you know, it makes them very difficult to handle.
Yeah, I hear that you need to usually. I hear people say never split fire. Split fire is never good. Just make sure you wipe a unit out completely.
Yes.
And that's especially true with the Necrons. Just make sure
Yes,
it's
it is, 'cause
completely
they're
off
gonna-
the table.
Because otherwise they're gonna come back anyway.
Yeah.
But as long as they're not on the table, they're not scoring.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really that's what you're going for in 40k. You want them off the table so that they're not contesting an objective.
Well, I think if you get them off the table, they can't use reanimation protocol. You need to do something else to bring them back.
No, but there are like, you know, tricks and stratagems and bits of war gear and whatnot which allow you to do it. You know?
Right.
It's very naughty. There's a lot. Their long range firepower, as you'd expect, is baller. It's really bloody good. I mean, even like the basic Gauss rifles have a lethal hits, you know, which is naughty.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
It's pretty damn good because it means even your basic Necron warrior unit with enough firepower can do damage to things like land raiders and tanks and
if you get
like
those
that.
good rolls in.
If you get the good rolls, if you're getting your sixes, yeah, basically.
What about you, George? What have you been up to hobby-wise this week?
I managed to get some time. So I've actually, you know, after a ridiculously busy period, it's been really nice to actually get some actual hobbying done. So I've put together a few more Death Guard bits and pieces from
nice.
some of them from that set that you sent me, Andy. Thank you very, very much indeed. That's lovely. I'm getting, you know, thanks to you largely, I'm getting a fairly respectable Death Guard army here now.
Oh yeah.
I've bought to just supplement them and expand the squads that I've got. I bought some more Blight Lord Terminators because Nurgle Terminators. It's just like, wow, that for me is a marriage made in hell. You know, it's beautiful. Absolutely love it. And the Blight Lords are some of my favorites. I think they're great miniatures. Each one of them is a character, effectively. You know, they've put as much effort into each of those sculpts as they would have, you know, about 5-6 years ago, they'd have put into a character model. It's absolutely brilliant. And I've also bought another unit of Plague Marines just to bolster.
Are you going to try and get your hands on the what are they called? Space Marine Heroes? You know, when they did the Nurgle versions of them.
I would
they're
love
very
them.
characterful as well, but I don't know how easy they are to come by.
Not very. They're not very easy to come by. But you can sometimes find them on, like, you know, on the second-hand market on eBay and whatnot. Right. They are expensive, but they're not massively expensive. You know, it's the kind of thing where I would have to save up for them, but it's not that bad, you know?
Oh, okay, all right.
So I will probably be looking to get them. And of course, the whole army is going to be converted to some degree or another. So, you know, they're all going to have the worms coming out of them because I like that as a motif. I think that's fun. I was toying with the idea of getting a Great Unclean one to go with them as an ally.
Which kind? The current one or like the one?
The new big one, the current one. I think that is such a good sculpt. I love the Trish Morrison face with the big smile, or rather the Adrian Smith face, you know, with the big grin. I think that's absolutely brilliant.
So and that's a future purchase. Is that one that you've got coming?
He is very expensive, so it's like that's a future purchase.
That like 80 pounds, I think, more.
He's a big old expensive kit. I've got Mortarion somewhere around here, but I put him in a box when I had this place renovated, and he's somewhere in here, but I haven't taken him out of the box yet. He's in like a cupboard somewhere, I can't remember what bloody box he's in. So I will have Mortarion at some point. So that's great, and it's good because my friend Tom, who's been on the show before, he is doing the Thousand Suns at the moment.
Oh, nice.
So we are toying with the idea because he's a friend of our mutual friends Ray Curran and his husband
Mhm.
John. So what we're thinking of doing is he's doing his Thousand Sons. He's going to get Magnus. I've got my Death Guard. I've got Mortarion. We're thinking of like getting together at Ray and John's and having a battle in their living room,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay.
show them what it's like, how you play and whatnot. And once we do that, they'll be in. They'll be absolutely in. And then they'll have to move, I'm afraid,
Oh
because they've
no.
already got, well, John's got his Lego,
Yeah.
Ray's got his Transformers.
Yeah.
So they'll have to move into a bigger place, I'm afraid, to accommodate all the new stuff they'll have to buy.
You're just helping them. You're helping them. It's
Yeah,
all right.
exactly what I'm
Yeah.
doing, enhancing their lifestyle. That's what
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
doing.
No
I've
problem.
already got them into D&D, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one. Warhammer next. Warhammer next. But no, that's going to be fun actually because I played a few games with Thousand Sons in 10th and they're brilliant.
Mm.
They're so good in 10th. I don't know. There's something about the index where everything works. Everything works. All the stuff that you wouldn't ever take in ninth ed, like you're enlightened on their discs, you just wouldn't bother because they weren't very good. Now they're great. They're absolutely great. There's a place for everything
That's good.
in
That's
the
how it
army.
should be, potentially.
Exactly. There's nothing like redundant now, which is really, really nice. And there's a couple of units that are just insane, like the Scarab Occult, the
Oh, yeah.
Terminators.
Yeah, they were already
They
good, weren't they?
honestly, they compete for some of the best Terminators in the game.
Wow.
They really do. Because of like all of the weirdy, beardy stuff you can do with their army trait and their detachment rule, where you can basically what their detachment rule allows you to do, the one that's in the index anyway, it allows you to enhance any psychic ability with extra like universal rules. So you can
Right.
enhance any attack that's got the psychic keyword to make it a lethal hit or to make it a devastating hit or to give it the sustained ability. And there are stratagems and naughty little rules in the index that let you turn the Scarab Occult Terminator's bolters into psychic attacks.
Oh,
So
damn.
suddenly you play that, and suddenly you can give their bolters like devastating wounds or something like that. And it's like, frigging hell. And the amount of shots they put out, because they're like a type of arcane storm bolter.
Hmm.
It's insane. They can hose really big, nasty units off the battlefield in a single round of shooting.
Well, since you're going to be fighting against them, have you come up with any strategies to fight against them?
Yes, they're going to be
Oh.
difficult with the Death Guard though, because the Death Guard they're kind of equivalent to the Thousand Sons in many respects. They're this very small, very elite army. So our individual units are really good. They're really good. But facing the Thousand Sons, you're going to have to throw a lot at them, especially those like anchor units, like the Scarab Occult Terminators. The Plague Burst Mortar, the Plague Burst Crawler that you sent me,
Hmm.
that's going to help because that's got indirect fire. It
Oh,
can launch
nice.
almost anywhere on the battlefield,
Yeah, yeah.
So that's gonna be useful. Swamping them with the little zombie dudes, the pox walkers,
Oh, yes.
that would work. So I've got Typhus. Get Typhus, put him in a unit of pox walkers, and he enhances them and makes them even nastier. And you just chuck them at the Scarab Occult Terminators. Typhus is a nasty piece of work. I've seen him kill a Titan before.
Damn, really?
Yeah, he's a nasty piece of work. He gets so many attacks with his Man Reaper.
Huh.
He's a really, really cool character. Chuck him in a unit of Poxwalkers and he's even nastier. So that would work. That would definitely work. It would take a few turns. You would probably basically be sacrificing that unit. It would be a case of like, right, they're going to be tar pitted there for 2-3 turns maybe. But to tie up the Scarab Occult, it would be worth it.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Because otherwise they're going to be hosing bits of your army off the battlefield every turn. And I mean every turn. And if you're playing against someone who's a bit aggressive in the way that they play, so if they're mucking about with all the naughty teleport tricks and magic chicanery that the Thousand Sons can do, where they can like remove units in the first turn and relocate them somewhere on the battlefield, you might be in trouble. You might be in a bit of trouble.
Damn. Well, I wish you luck. I hope you're
Yeah.
able to win when you eventually get it set up.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll see if I can like record it with my phone or something, or if we can get a camera set up so we can, maybe we can take pictures and I can put like a sort of story up on the Fluffenhammer of how it goes.
That'd be neat. Yeah, if you could take some photos and make a little mini battle report. Maybe as a storyteller, you could like think of a scenario and weave the story around who wins. That could be quite fun.
Absolutely. I mean, and the fact that, of course, he's going to be bringing Magnus, I'm going to be bringing Morty. That's going to be. I mean, 1-on-1, Magnus wins. 1-on-1. In fact, 1-on-1, Magnus wins against anything in the game at this point.
Damn.
I am thinking he might be nerfed when the codex finally hits, because like 1-on-1, he's probably the most powerful model in the game at the moment. I've seen him kill Angron in one turn of psychic shooting. I mean, it didn't really matter in that particular battle report because Angron just like reincarnated, charged him, and then killed him. But even so, right, being able to do that is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. How much health does Angron usually have?
Angron, he's got, I don't know, I haven't got the index to hand.
He's got quite a lot,
tough.
though.
He's tough, yeah. He's all the Primarchs, particularly the Demon Primarchs, are really tough now. They're like little titans, effectively. They've got that stat level on them, The Demon Primarchs are particularly nasty. And Magnus is a beast. I mean, he's an absolute beast. It's largely because of like the little ancillary powers they've given him. He can deep strike. He's one of the only Primarchs that can deep strike. It's like, what? That's mental.
Yeah, just putting him behind enemy lines is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you want, he's a big, expensive unit. He costs a lot of points, so you do pay for him. But he will always give you that back because of his buff. First of all, his buffing abilities are amazing. He's absolutely amazing. If you put him like central in your Thousand Sons army, he's got abilities that buff everything around him, and they buff hard. He's a really nasty piece of work. Morty is too. I mean, Morty and Angron are too. But in this edition, Magnus has got the edge. At the moment of the Primarchs, he's winning.
Wow.
He's winning, which is nice to see, because he didn't in the last few editions. He really didn't.
News? Is it news time? We got news.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's have a look a little bit let's have a look at a lot of news. There's a lot going on.
A lot of news. Yeah, it's been a while since we've actually podcasted.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. We probably won't cover everything, guys, because there's a lot here. But let's see how we go.
Yeah. What are we starting off with?
What are we starting off with? A little bit of Blood Bowl. Should we start off with a little bit of Blood Bowl?
That's right, a little bit of Blood Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, this gnomes. I mean, my God, it's been a long time since we've seen gnomes in anything Warhammer related.
Do you remember when the last time was? Was it Blood Bowl again?
God.
It must have been Blood Bowl, right?
It may have been Blood Bowl, yeah. I mean, they used to be in the main game. There used to be a race in Warhammer, but this is ages back. This is in like the first couple of editions, and they quickly went away. Because of course, I mean, like there wasn't really much point of having the dwarfs and the gnomes.
No, yeah,
because they're just too similar. They're just far too similar in the Warhammer universe. But these guys are lovely. They're a really different aesthetic. I mean, they've painted them obviously to look like very classic sort of like garden gnome characters. Which I like. I think that's hilarious. That fits with the Blood Bowl aesthetic very nicely. Like I said, before we came on, when I see them, all I can hear in my head is the theme tune from David the Gnome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see why you'd say that. We also found out what the goose was, because we saw that goose teaser image ages ago. And
I remember.
it's for this.
We were trying to work out, weren't we? Like, what army would that belong to?
Blood Bowl. We should have guessed Blood Bowl because it just makes more sense.
Well, what could it have possibly been in AOS? What could it have possibly been? Unless it's like it could have potentially been flying away from like the Ogor Moor tribe's pot or something, right?
Didn't we theorize it was a chimera
I think we did
or
say
something like
something
that?
like that. Or
Yeah.
maybe it was a familiar or something
Hmm.
like that for a wizard or but no, this makes a lot more sense.
And clearly, because of the variety of birds you can paint, there was the
Mhm.
Canadian goose. There's the swan that they've got for this image. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a decent few ways you can paint this thing up. It seems like if you like cute critters, this is the set to get. Apart from the badger,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
a badger, so it's mean.
So it's a pretty damn mean, yeah. But
Yeah,
no, I mean like there's that's the theme, isn't it?
yeah, garden
Woodland
friendly
critters,
animals. Yeah,
foxes, obviously,
I love
lots of
how happy
foxes
the fox is with the little ball in its mouth.
with the ball in his
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah, that's brilliant. But this is a lovely way of reintroducing the gnomes. Actually, it's a nice test bed as well, isn't it? I mean, who knows? They might catch on.
Be
I
interesting to see
doubt that would. Yeah.
what would you pair them with? Because I don't think you could just would it just be bigger like woodland creatures? Because it feels like
It must
they
be.
wouldn't do well against orcs. I feel.
No, no. And against any of the more serious armies, I doubt they do very well.
No.
But as a little comedy troupe, they're a lot of fun.
I think you could maybe do these as like a mercenary group potentially. That could work.
Yeah, I think that would work really, really well. I mean, from a hobbying standpoint, these are just going to be fun to have, aren't they? And
Definitely.
they're just lovely. They're lovely looking. They've got a real aesthetic about them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd be down with that. I'd like to
And it's
see
very
someone do like a siege weapon, but it's actually a giant shoe where they live in it.
yeah, so like go down the fairy tale route.
Yeah, that kind of idea.
I
That
like
could be
that.
fun.
I do like that idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, as is the case with a lot of the Blood Bowl teams, they're all characters. Every single miniature is a character,
Yes.
and they're great. They're all loads of fun. They're all doing something. They've all got loads of stuff on their bases, whether it's an animal or like a plant or something like that. They're great.
In
They
the
are-
video, I saw one of them had a hedgehog with them, but I can't see them on the minis.
I don't think he's amongst this lot, but there is one with a hedgehog. Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder why it's not on
That's
the
brilliant.
slider. Because in the video, I definitely saw a hedgehog in the here are all the. I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I don't think all of them are here on the slideshow, are they?
no, I don't think so. I don't think they're all here.
Because there's
Well,
one
that's
with
a
like
shame.
a rope that has like they're using I think it's like a fishing hook, and it's grabbed
Yeah,
the
that's right.
football, and he's
That's right.
definitely
And
not
he's
here.
Interesting.
Weird.
That's a shame. I would have liked to have seen the hedgehog one here, definitely.
Same.
And then you've got a new treat man as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
He's-
think these
he's-
look way better than the Sylvaneth trees. This is a
Mm,
proper
Sylvaneth,
tree
yeah.
creature tree.
It's a tree, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's less humanoid, isn't it? It is like a proper living tree. This is like an ent, isn't it? From Lord of the Rings, basically.
Yeah, or that shitty tree from Pocahontas.
No, oh God, don't
That
remind
one.
me. Yeah, don't remind me. I love the variant that's got the football boot on its branch. That's friggin' hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, I know Gruff was really interested in getting this and making it up to look like a Dark Harvest and giving it like really spiky
Yeah.
teeth and stuff like that to make it look evil.
I could see how you could do that with this. I mean, it's funny. It's a lovely, funny mini, but you could darken it up.
Yeah.
It has the potential to be quite sinister, this thing.
All you have to do is put in like spiky teeth inside that very big open
Yeah.
tree mouth, and it would look pretty scary.
You could even put like souls coming out of it if you get some
Oh,
of the
that'd be
night
fun.
haunts or something, or
Yeah.
skeletons and things. That'd be kind of cool. That would be kind
That's
of
a
cool.
great idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice mini. That is. He is a
Oh,
nice,
it's
big,
great.
chunky, old-fashioned miniature. Reminds me a little bit of the old Marauder miniatures that used to produce for Games Workshop once upon
Ah.
many, 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 many moons ago. They don't anymore.
Do you
They
remember
don't-
the squirrel? What was the squirrel for? That was for Blood Bowl as well, right? From a few
Oh,
years
that
back.
was for Blood Bowl, but I can't remember off the top of my head what that was for. It
No, I
was
can't.
for Blood Bowl. It was for Blood Bowl. It wasn't
Hmm.
Gnomes, funnily enough. It was something else, wasn't it?
Was
But
it? No, it wasn't a halflings either. I don't think was it.
I don't think so. I
Hmm.
can't remember. I cannot remember. But yeah, a little bit of Blood Bowl. Shall we move on to the next
Yeah,
one?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what have we got next? We've got the Dark Oath.
The Dark Oath.
The Dark Oath for the Slaves to Darkness. Yeah, this is really interesting. So this is going to be a supplement for the Slaves to Darkness, and it's a way of introducing some new miniatures that have been. Oh my God, these guys have needed updating for such a long time. Such a long time. So effectively, these are the new Chaos Marauders. They're the mortals, basically. They're the normal people of the tribes of Chaos. That's what these guys are. And the old miniatures, the ones that are actually featured in the current Slaves to Darkness book, they came about. They were one of the earliest modular plastic kits for Warhammer Fantasy Battle. They're from ages and ages and ages ago. And of course, most of the Slaves to Darkness most of the Slaves to Darkness range is fairly new. So you can imagine they didn't look right. They just did not look very
a little
good.
old looking, I think.
A little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, great set, really ubiquitous set, that everybody used to get, just to use the bits from it for conversions and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they needed updating, and whoa, they have updated them.
Well, interestingly enough, this set in particular looks like a character box set, kind of like the the Stormcast had this as well, didn't they, recently, where it's like one Stormcast and then a few other characters as well, and I think they got rules for them where you can use them in Curse City. It kind of looks like these are the Chaos Marauder equivalent. So I don't really know where they fit or why they've been done. Are they meant to be in like conjunction with a book or something like that? I think
so. Yeah. So there's going to be a novel apparently based on the Dark Oath novel, and there's also going to be weirdly a supplement which you don't often get in AOS. There is actually going to be a Battle Tome supplement that introduces their rules into the Slaves to Darkness book.
So how big is that supplement going to be? Because it can't just be them.
No, it's not. I mean, there's these characters. There's the new basic Marauder set, it looks absolutely amazing. And there's also Marauder Horseman as well.
Oh, okay.
So there's quite a lot. It's the non-Chaos Warrior side of things, basically. Those who haven't quite aspired to be Chaos Warriors yet and are still living as people do, they're tribes people. They're the equivalent of like the Norse people from the fantasy battle world, from the old world.
Yeah, these guys are still somewhat human in comparison to Chaos Warriors. Who is it still the case in AOS when you get Chaos Armor, you just are sealed in there? Because I'm pretty sure that was the case for Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, if you aspire to become a Chaos Warrior, then you're a Chaos Warrior, basically.
Yeah.
You can't remove the armor; it grafts to your skin.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're on the path. Then you're on the path of darkness. You're either going to end up a Chaos Spawn, or a Demon Prince, or dead.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe all three. It's chaos. That's true. But these are gorgeous. These are absolutely gorgeous. They're the sort of old school chaos thing going on with them. They look like they derive inspiration from artwork from the old Chaos Warrior books from Fantasy Battle. But it's the case that now the technology has reached the point where they can actually make miniatures that looks like the artwork.
Yeah.
At long last. I love them. I absolutely love them. I love the fact they're all characters, they're all distinct, and they're all slightly overwrought as chaos is meant to be. I think my particular favorite is the shaman.
Oh, he's the best.
I love him.
Easily.
The sort of hunched, the bird face, the antlers coming out of the back and everything.
Makes me think of the Ritual a little bit when I look at him.
Yes. Oh, and in fact, there's a picture a little bit further down. You get to see him from the side.
Yeah.
And he looks really Dark Souls inspired, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
He like Bloodborne, Dark Souls. He looks a little bit like some of the creatures you find in the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne. Which has long been an influence on AOS, obviously.
I remember I did say where I put up, I think it was in our chat, or maybe it was just a gruff. I did suggest, what if he's not actually hunched over? And I put on like big googly eyes just under the antlers, so that was his face there.
That'd be great.
Who knows? It's chaos. He might have two heads. He might have a head on his back.
It's not. It is definitely not out of the question, is it?
No.
Let's be honest. I mean, it's chaos. So, and if he's a shaman, he's got a greater link to chaos than the others do.
Well, yeah. Well,
so
he's only got like 3 fingers on one hand. He's got more of a Zangor claw.
He does, doesn't he? He does, and I like that. I like it when they make the chaos sorcerers a little bit more mutated because it makes sense.
Well, here's the question: do you think? I mean, this could just depend on the character. Do you think he was already like it's a birth defect and he has like penguin hands from Batman Returns, or do you think it's the power of chaos? Because if you're deformed in fantasy or AOS, you're probably kind of shunned, kind of like in 40k anyway, and you're kind of kicked down the chaos path anyway.
Yeah, that's probably true, to be honest. So it's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah. Some people are just conjoined. Some people are conjoined by chaos. It's like, who knows?
Maybe that's what led him down the path of chaos, or hurled him down the path of chaos or whatever. Yeah, maybe that's the case. But I love him. I would like him actually for just to paint up. I think he looks great.
My only criticism is the character on the horseback. I've seen that face done. I feel like I've seen that face multiple times.
That looks really familiar, actually. It looks like an almost stock face, doesn't it?
It feels like I've seen it in the Hedonites, in the Elves.
Hedonites, definitely in the Hedonites.
Yeah.
Nice horse, though. Nice sort of destroyer of chaos.
The best thing of the horse is the armor on the head.
I like that.
That's really
that a lot.
Yeah, but that would be my only complaint. That face looks like something I've seen many times, and I think it might be because of how they do the rendering on the computer that this face just kind of crops up again and again.
I think that's very likely. Mind you, quick head swap, and we've got something a little bit more interesting going on there. But no, they're nice. They're really nice, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they fare in the Slaves to Darkness book.
Do you know Chris Thurston? Have you read any of his stuff before? He's doing the Dark Oath book.
I might have. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I might have. I can't remember. I'd be interested to read that, though. I mean, that will be interesting because it's the plight of the normal people in the AOS realms, in the mortal realms. The vast majority of people belong to these tribes. So
the normal people who weren't lucky enough to live in Azure, I guess.
Exactly that. So that could be very interesting to get their perspective on things, Because from their perspective, the Sigmarites are evil, From their perspective, Sigmarites are the ones who are coming and invading their lands and telling them that they can't worship their tribal gods anymore.
We're not allowed to kill and rape. How dare you? We've been doing this for years.
From their perspective, I know. It's
from my perspective, it is the Jedi who are evil, Obi-Wan.
Kind of. And it's bizarre. It's interesting because the current Slaves to Darkness book really goes into that. It goes quite deep into that. A lot of these tribes are descended from the people that were shut out of Azir.
Yeah.
Who had no choice. They literally had no choice. It was either side with chaos or die. So
they decided with Nagash, then you die anyway.
Yeah, but then, mind you, at that point, Nagash was like, he was withered to nothing. He'd been defeated.
Yeah.
He was in absentia. He was licking his wounds.
He was having another nap, which he tends to do.
Another. He has a lot, doesn't he? He has a lot of those long naps.
To be fair, he's like the most active god out of all of them because he actually gets involved in fighting, where like Sigmar doesn't. The Chaos gods don't.
Absolutely true. He is very busy all the time, isn't he? And he's got lots of things to look after as well.
Yeah,
when you consider that there are, like, how many armies are there that are dedicated to him now?
And he's got to juggle the Mortarks as well because they're not nice people. There's at least two of them are constantly trying to backstab him anyway.
That's true. That's absolutely true. On top of that, he's got to do all the business with regards to the dead of the old world, which must take up a lot of time. Considering how many.
You know what Nagash is? Nagash is a single father. Right, juggling two teenagers.
Yeah. Multiple jobs, obviously.
Multiple jobs, 2 teenagers, people who are actively trying to bring him down in life, and he's just like,
yeah. He is the classic old man as well, isn't he? I mean, he's like older than anyone in mortal realms.
Poor Nagash.
Um, or Nagash. Yeah. In fact, is he the oldest thing in the mortal realms, barring like the chaos powers and whatnot? I think
He
he might.
must be. Yeah, because like
He might.
he's pre Sigmar,
He's pre-Sigmar, I'm fairly certain. So
and I'm guessing he's.
Morathai is older.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about like Tetlus and
Eklis and
those
Morathai are
guy?
older. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
just because
are
they're
old.
elves, they've been around a
Yeah,
while.
because they're elves. Yeah, and
Oh, is is Mazda Mundi still around in the Seraphon?
oh, that's a point.
Because
That's a point.
Mazda Mundi's pretty old as well.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know how
right.
old he is, but I know he's been around.
There is like a Lord Croak. Yeah, he's ancient, isn't he?
Wasn't one of the Seraphons like the first creatures in fantasy?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes, some of them must be older. I'd assume,
maybe.
anyway.
It's
But
hard
he's
to
still
know, right? Yeah,
bloody old. I
yeah,
mean,
he's still super old.
as someone who began as a human being, he's pretty bloody old.
He's done. I think he's done pretty well for himself. In all fairness,
Nagash is a success story.
for the most
Like,
part, yeah.
I mean, he is one of the only creatures from the old world that has managed to escape chaos in like an absolute way.
Mm,
Even the elves haven't managed that.
no.
So, pretty good going, Nagash.
All you
Pretty
gotta
good
do
going.
is be scared of dying, and you can do
Oh, yeah,
whatever you like.
yeah. Use that as the drive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Shall we move on?
Sure, yeah.
What have we got next? What's coming up next?
It's a Custodes boy.
Oh, hello. Yeah.
And
Oh, a little bit
book.
of 40K. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Custodes are coming, aren't they? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That should be interesting, actually. I don't think I've got any of the Custodes books.
They're not usually very big because
Uh,
they're like the Thousand Sons are elite. These I'd say are even more elite than them. These are
these
the
guys,
most elite.
absolutely, which they have to be,
They
don't
have to
they?
be.
Because
Yeah.
of what they are.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They're throwbacks to the old days, aren't they?
Mm.
They've been in like the throne chamber for the last 10,000 years, haven't they?
Doing nothing.
By all accounts, doing nothing. Yeah, doing
literally
absolutely bugger all.
standing in place for days, doing
Yeah.
nothing, gathering dust.
Yeah, seems
Is that
so.
something the custodians have to do? Does somebody come around and dust a custody? Do you think?
While they're standing there,
Yeah, well,
just sort of
I'm
like,
guessing they're like the beef eaters and stuff outside the palace for the thing, and they're not allowed to move, so someone has to come and
I'd
dust
assume
them.
that's the case. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd assume that's the case. And given that like the emperor is like consuming psychers left, right, and center, there must be like ashes everywhere.
Oh God, yeah.
Burnt out bodies and bones everywhere. So, can't be that clean, can it?
They're all put in a giant machine, aren't they? If I remember.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. There's like it's connected to the golden throne,
that's right.
and it plugs into them, and it saps them of all their spiritual energy. Effectively, it drains them dry. It's like psychic vampirism.
Yeah, there's no way
Uh,
those machines are self-cleaning, so someone has to
oh
go in
no.
and clean each one of those tubes
And,
between people getting shoved in.
yeah, remove all of like the remains, the charred bits.
Yeah.
Need to be
Oh
scraped
God!
off.
Imagine if
and-
it's like 3 people and they've got to do 1,000 chambers a day, because it's like you've got 23 hours before the next batch. Get it done.
Yeah, and it's got to be on time as well. I mean,
Oh,
the
yeah.
emperor, like his appetite grows and grows and grows as the years go on.
Yeah.
He needs more and more souls. So you've got to get one out and get another one in.
Oh,
As
get 'em
quickly as
cleaning.
possible.
Aye.
So wow,
Fun
cleaning
times.
servitors. That's what you need. Lots and lots of like servitors. That's what you need.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think. Yeah, I didn't even consider it was probably the servitors that are doing it. I suppose that makes more sense than
That's
just
what you-
people.
It would make sense. It would
Yeah.
definitely make sense. You can put more arms on a servitor, can't you? More feather dusters.
Yeah, and they don't need to know. Like people, if they see the golden throne, they probably know the emperor's dead. That's probably not something you
Yeah.
want getting out. A servitor doesn't care. It's barely alive.
Yeah. That's quite important, isn't it? You don't want
Yeah.
human beings seeing that, really.
No.
Considering what was left of him after Horus did one on him, you really don't want to see that.
But
then we've got a
what
little,
about this blade dude?
Oh wow, he's odd, isn't he? Like his proportions are weird. I mean, this is the Custodes thing. They're
Mm.
bigger than Space Marines. They're broader than Space Marines. They're really huge. These guys are like Space Marines and then some. They're even bigger than Primaris Marines, these guys.
Yeah.
So like every individual Custodes is a character, effectively. There's a lot of like historical influence in this guy. Obviously, there's a lot of Greco-Roman stuff
Mm.
going on here. As
More
you
so
get in
than
the
most, I feel,
Yes,
compared to most of the
more
Custodes.
so. Definitely, they've really gone down, and particularly like Roman. It seems there's a lot of Roman influence in this dude. It's an interesting model. I'm not. He's oddly proportioned. There's something about the stance and the way it makes him look like he's top heavy.
I think he's in the generic stance, like one foot on
Yeah.
a thing, a bit of scenery, and
Yes.
the other foot planted behind him, and then he's pointing
That's
with a
it.
spear, and that's it.
Yeah, I think you get more of like when you see him in profile, it looks a bit better.
Mm.
It makes him look a little bit less like I don't know, stunted somehow.
Mm.
It doesn't look quite right face on.
No, I see what you're saying. Do you think it?
But he's a nice mini. There's loads of detail on him.
I think my
Loads of
problem with him
detail.
is he just looks like any other custody. I think that's the problem with that I have with their range a lot because the ranges are big. A lot of the models just, especially the quote unquote new character models, just look the same as everything else.
They're custodies, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's not much you can do with them, to be
Not
honest,
really,
because
no.
they're very prescribed, aren't they?
Mhm.
There's only one, there's a standard type for custodies, and that's what they are.
Mm.
So you can't really shake them up too much. You can't vary them too much, especially since these guys are real throwbacks to the old days. These guys are from the days of the Great Crusade, right?
Yeah.
So
pre
they
even
haven't
that, right?
Yeah, pre that, absolutely. These guys were made before the Space Marines, weren't they? These guys were around before the Space Marines were. So yeah, these guys, and they haven't really changed very much since then because no one's had access to them.
No.
You haven't got like it's not like you've got Belisarius Cawl creeping in and tinkering with them like you do with the Space Marines, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, if I remember, all of their stuff is the best of the best of the best
Yeah.
of the best. But that's also why there's nothing new of it because it's just too good.
That's right. And it can't be replicated.
No.
Because it's
It's
not.
been
It's from a
lost.
bygone time. It's from
Yeah.
an ancient era, which is really nice. I mean, I like that about the Adeptus Custodes that they are like these avenging angels from an older era,
Mm.
and probably don't get on very well with most of the present day Imperium. I mean, from what I understand, the thing that keeps them from totally like going nuts, rebelling, and like trying to bring down what's become of the Imperium from the inside is that they are myopically loyal to protecting the Emperor.
Yeah.
So that's their entire deal. They will only stir if they feel that something is a direct threat to him.
Yeah, so you'd need the High Council to basically turn against the Empire and the Emperor, and then they do something.
Yeah, then they would do something. I don't know what their relationship is with Robite, with Guilliman.
You would think they'd get on as they did before with him, I would guess.
I'd assume that there is some common ground there because, like him, they're from that era. They're from that bygone era. They know what the Imperium is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Which isn't what it is now, obviously. It's not what it's definitely not what it is now.
No.
On the other hand, the Custodes do not like the Space Marines. They never have.
No.
The Custodes regard the Space Marines as a mistake for the most part. I mean, certainly like the higher ups, like Constantine Valdor from the Horus Heresy books, he's always said that no, they were a mistake. You should never have done it to the Emperor.
After the heresy, it's hard to say that wasn't the case.
It's hard to argue against, isn't it? You know, it's very hard to argue against. They were a bit of an error on the Emperor's part.
Yeah, one of many.
One of many. But no, I mean, I'd assume this is all they're getting. Because these guys, their miniatures range is pretty full anyway, isn't it? You know,
well, it's the usual standard, as we've said before. Like, new book comes out, you put out one model, and then that's you done for
that's it.
The edition. It's like, all right, fair enough.
It. And like we said, they're very hard to introduce new miniatures into. Really.
Yeah, you can't really do too much.
You can't do too much without breaking the background. you do what they did with the Space Marines, and you like let Belisarius Cawl gets a hold of them, and
I'd
maybe
rather
makes
they didn't do that. I think
I'd
it was
rather
silly
they-
when Belisarius Cole did it in
yeah,
fiction.
yeah. So leave that well enough alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys, of course, these are even more genetically advanced than the Space Marines are.
Mm.
So trying to replicate them, probably a mistake. Probably a mistake.
Yeah, don't want Bile getting that either.
Oof. Woof. Can you imagine that? Chaos
Yeah.
Custodes. Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Chaos infused possessed custodes.
Whoa. That
That'd
is
be rough.
something.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, obviously, but
It would be devastating for the galaxy at the very least.
it would be, wouldn't it off?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't it off? Okay, should we move on to the next 40k story?
Yeah.
Oh, this I like. First of all, I mean, so we've got the suggestion of the Custodes Codex. This is a bit more exciting insofar as I'm concerned. We've also got like little bits and pieces from the Orc Codex. Yay! Because when are they due? The Orcs? Is it summer they're coming?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it summer? I can't remember.
If they're
I can't remember.
previewing the codex now or in the last few weeks, then yeah, it can't be too far off.
It's relatively soon, isn't it? It's relatively soon. I think the Chaos Space Marines, are they the Chaos Space Marines for these guys? I think they might be.
Have we had a preview of I don't know, because I don't think we've had a preview of the book yet.
No, not of the book, we haven't. You're right. You're absolutely right. But my God, Gruff is going to go nuts with this, I'm sure. This guy's insane.
Yeah. What is he? Is he a mech boy?
Big mech. He's a big mech, isn't he? He's like the big mech character. But they've done what I love with orcs. They've just gone like more. Make it bigger, make it nastier, put more arms on it, put more bits on it. I think he's great. I think he's absolutely great.
I don't like sad orc face though.
He does have a sad orc face. One of the head variants looks maybe a bit too serious for an orc, because they're meant to be having a jolly old time, aren't they? In 40K?
Maybe he's the miserable orc, because there must be some miserable orcs out there.
There must be some miserable orcs.
Just like, oh no, come on, you're having a big fight. You should be happy.
These guys, I mean, it's such a cool miniature. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I think the only criticism I have is it means that this is the only new orc troop we're getting this edition again, which is kind of sad, because there are still things in the range that need updating still.
Yeah. Yes, there are. And there are with a lot of the legacy armies, right?
Yeah, you can see in the orc battle force, the Stomper Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it's old.
Yeah, most of it's pretty old.
I mean, you have the Orc Boys, which are new.
Mm-hmm.
You have him, and then everything else is old. You've got Shooter Boys, which have some... Flamer Boys, I think they all are. Mm-hmm. You've got Stomper, which is... Burner Boys, thank you. You've got a Stomper, which is old. You've got a War Wagon, or whatever the wagon's called. That's old. Yep. And what are the ones in the back? Are they Rocket Boys?
Oh, let me get Gunners? Right in there. I'm not sure. They're the guys. Are they the Flash Gits? They're the Flash Gits, are they? The ones with like the really specially weapons.
I'm not sure. Yeah, something like that. But in the box there, it basically means that there's only two new one troop that's new, one character that's new, and then the rest of the stuff, which is all stuff that you probably could do with an update. The Stomper's probably fine. The War Wagon, that's whatever, that's probably fine.
It's a War Wagon, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But the other kind of like heavy weapon troops, they could probably do with a tiny
They look a little out of place, don't they, with the rest of them? They're a little less dynamic, maybe.
Funnily enough, I don't know if you've noticed, but can you tell that there's a different skin color choice between the two of them?
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? So those guys are even from like an older edition, right?
Yeah, because they'll have been painted in more of a green tone, and these new ones are more of a, I don't know, snot green kind of color. Yeah.
That's definitely the case. I mean, this is a book I'll get because I love the Orc books for Warhammer 40,000. They're a nice breath of fresh air because they're always funny. They're always a laugh, there's so many jokes in them. It's unbelievable, which is, not something you necessarily go to Warhammer 40,000 for.
No. What do you think of the cover? I didn't ask you your thoughts on the Custodes cover because I didn't like the Custodes cover. I don't like this one either, to be honest.
This one, I think it's the same cover as the last one. I think. I don't think they've done any. I think so.
It's a bit boring and it feels kind of empty.
It could do with a bit more of the joie de vivre of the orcs, a bit more of the fun, because the thing about orcs in 40k is they're having a jolly old time.
Yeah.
One of the only creatures in 40k who is having a jolly old time, and I'd like to see a little bit more of that in it, of them just enjoying themselves.
I mean, I can't help but just think to the obvious call of me saying, well, the second edition orc thing where you had Gazgul in his big fluffy outfit on the front, and then just orcs everywhere, right in your face.
Just
bright,
ridiculous, right? Just over the top, bright, colourful. Yeah, that was a lot.
I think this one just feels bare, and the Custodes one previously, the proportions felt weird on the main Custodes up front, and again, everything was really far and sparse in the background. I don't know. They don't have pop. I think the Necron one's fine. Yeah, Emotech in the front.
Like the Necron one. I liked the Tyranid one, was good.
Yeah.
Space Marines, it was just the same one as last time. And it's a very decent cover, it's very decent. Just got the Dark Angels one here. The Dark Angels one is nice, actually. The Dark Angels one is and I think there's new artwork as well, actually.
Must have been. I don't think they had a codex before. Wow.
No, I think you're right.
Edition,
yeah. This is definitely new because it's got some of the new units on it. So, yeah. Nice book, by the way, the Dark Angels. I mean, I'm a bit biased because I love the Dark Angels. I think they're really cool, but nice book. What have we got next, Andy? Let's have a look. What's going on?
Orcs. Old orcs.
More orcs. Yeah, old orcs. I mean, like really. I mean, we talked about old orcs in that context. These are properly old orcs.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody hell. That picture, the first picture on the article, that takes me back.
Where was this from? Was this from one of their codexes? Or battle tomes back in the day?
Oh, it could have been. I don't know, but it looks like it could be, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Those ranks and everything, the old black orcs and oh my god. Yeah,
those you can see just by looking at those black orcs, you're like, wow. What is that in the back? That's not a giant, is it? Ogre? What is that?
That is a giant. Yeah, that's actually the old giant. Yeah. That's because they weren't that big back then.
Yeah, he's tiny.
The giants weren't actually that big back then. That is one of the older giant sculpts.
The old giant one I remember is the one that has the beard that just goes around the chin, whatever that one was.
I know the one you mean. That's huge. I mean, that is absolutely huge, that is. It's weird. They scaled them down at one point, so they weren't as massive. And then with the very last giant sculpts for Fantasy Battle, they went huge again.
Oh, they're meant to be giant, meant to be big. It's in their name.
I know.
Weird.
But yeah, I mean, it is just about the old world, isn't it? They're just telling you like what the orcs and the trolls are going to be like.
I really like the image of the troll vomiting on a dude for the stupidity rule.
That's classic. That is part of the old artwork from the old before they were even called battle tomes from Fantasy Battle, when they were just army books.
Well, this is new art, isn't it? Because I think these are all new bits of art for the game because we've had that before.
That I've seen a million times reprinted in hundreds of books. Yeah, that is an old piece of art.
I love how spiteful it is to just vomit on someone, projectile vomit.
And that's what they used to do. The trolls had that as an attack in Fantasy Battle. They could vomit over their enemies, which is...
They've got that in Total War.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Mind you, if you play Noble, you're well used to it, to be honest.
I mean, the reason this is here is more so the fact that there's a battle force coming out for the orcs.
Yep, that certainly is.
Not on the next. You'll have to take my word for it because it was a story, but I think it was a story we haven't got for today. But yeah, we're going to be talking about a dwarf battle force that's coming out soon. There's an orc one coming out as well, which makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because there are like new trolls for it as well, aren't there?
Are there new
trolls? There's like new trolls and old trolls as well.
Is this the next story we're talking about? The trolls, the made-to-order trolls?
Yeah, there's the older trolls and there's new ones as well that look. I prefer the older ones. I'll be honest.
I thought the ones that are quote unquote newer were actually old ones. I think they're a different old one that Griff mentioned.
Oh, are they? I thought they were newer ones, but
See, we're missing our orc expert here with Gruff.
yes, of course. Yeah, Adam would definitely know.
Mhm.
He would definitely know. There is a picture further down where you can see like the difference. There's like the really old river trolls on the right,
Yeah,
and then there's another what I think are the newer trolls on the left.
yeah, but not
Think?
new trolls, right?
No, they're still old sculpts.
Yeah.
I think.
I think that's the troll that they're going with to be in the quote unquote old world things, and the river trolls are going to be made to order, which is the next story.
Right. Okie dokes.
Which is not the way I would have done it. I would have done it the other way around.
Other way
I think
around.
the river trolls are the more iconic looking troll.
They are. They're very much like the icon of the Warhammer troll, aren't they? You know,
Yeah, I
that's
think
what
so.
they look like. One of those used to host like the orders page, didn't it, in White Dwarf once upon a
That's
time?
right. Yeah. And what are the trolls next to the swamp hag? What are those trolls called?
Oh, those things. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're. They're very specific. I remember
Yeah.
they are. I know what it is. Those are the river trolls, the ones that are by the hag, and these are the
these are
stone
trolls.
These
Yeah,
are the
so-
stone trolls.
So
I
what are
think.
the other trolls then? Are they just trolls?
I think they're just normal trolls. Yeah, they're just trolls. You know.
The river trolls look like they've been going to a British dentist.
Very much. Yeah, very much so. But by God, some of these miniatures are old. I
Yeah.
mean, like that Orc Jarman. I remember when that was released.
He's so small and his face is so giant.
Yeah, they were
Delightful.
like that back then.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
They all of the orcs were like that back then. Lovely sculpt, that is.
Mm.
Lovely sculpt. And there's even older ones in the next picture with the wolf riders and the goblins and whatnot. Some of those are ancient,
Oh yeah.
as in like partly metal. You know.
Wow, that would be in keeping with the previous old world stuff, I suppose, with the Bretonians and the Tomb
Yeah.
Kings, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it is a very nice thing. It's nice to get that hit of nostalgia. I mean, I'm always going to be more for AOS than I am for this system, simply because I think it's better. You know, I just like it more. I like it more as a setting. I like the miniatures more. I like the background more. But I do love that this is happening for those who kind of feel a hankering for the old worldy stuff.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, old world classic orc and goblin classics to return to made to order.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So we talked about the big giant with the big chin beard. That's going to be one of the things made to order, it seems.
Yeah.
which
I mean,
is good.
that's really interesting, actually, because that is an old sculpt. I'm fairly certain that's a Marauder sculpt. You know,
Isn't that what the 2D cutout in the board game in the box game edition for third or
It
fourth
was.
edition was? Yeah, it was him.
it was. That's what it was meant to represent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloody hell, that is. I mean, it's a great sculpt, isn't it? It actually,
It really
I
looks
mean,
good.
obviously it's an old miniature, but it actually stands up really well, doesn't it?
I think it's because the face is done very good, very well. It looks
Yeah.
good, and the paint job on it is just stupidly good. Like his clothes are just made out of flags. Just
Yeah,
fun.
it's an utterly brilliant piece of work, that is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I mean, it does take me back because it's just an older style of sculpting and miniature design, isn't it? It's really kind of wonderful.
You know, it might be the beard, but it makes me. It reminds me a little bit of Thu. Do you see it?
I'm going to send that to him. I'm going to send that to him because I think he'll appreciate that. I think he'll really appreciate that. Brilliant. It is Marauder. They say
Is
at the
it?
bottom, it is the Marauder Giant. Yeah.
Oh damn!
bloody
So how
Marauder.
old does that make it then? If it's
That
Marauder,
makes it. If it's
80s?
Marauder, that makes it. The original was lead, so 80s.
80s?
Yeah,
Damn. Yeah. Shit. So about my age or more.
yeah, oh yeah. This could be our age. It's like wow, bloody
That's
Nora.
nuts. It also seems like the orc boss on the Wyvern is getting done as well, potentially.
I mean, I don't know, but it's not going to be the one that's pictured on the right, is it? The
No,
really old one. That
no.
one is ancient.
Yeah, it says on the Orc War Boss on the Wyvern on the left has been remastered in Forge World, but the Orc Shaman on the from the
On
early
the right,
'90s on the right is all metal.
yeah, yeah. Wow. I mean, I remember both of these. I remember both of these. They were both I mean, the Orc War Boss on the Wyvern, that was relatively late on
Mm.
in Fantasy Battles life, but the Shaman, that is an old miniature.
Ah, you can tell by the old school Wyvern. Like
Yeah,
that's a classic kind of dragon Wyvern shape as well, the S shape.
isn't it? Isn't it just? I mean, the Orc War Boss, his Wyvern has those classic universal dragon wings. Those
Oh,
are the same in every dragon set. Every dragon set.
use them
And
again.
interestingly, weird bit of trivia. In 3.5, in Warhammer 40,000 3.5, when the second Chaos Space Marine Codex came out, there was a metal Demon Prince sculpt that was specifically made so you could put those wings on it
Ha.
to give it wings. So weird, right? And it looked great. I did it. It looked amazing.
Mm. No, the only thing that I'd really want to get from this potentially, even though I don't like how much these things usually cost, even though they're getting remade, is the old River Trolls. I'd probably get them just because they are classic. I feel really bad about it, to be honest, just because of the
They
price.
are really, I mean, they're great sculpts, aren't they?
Yeah.
Even now, they stand up really, really well, actually.
Yeah.
They're very dynamic.
But
But
yeah,
no, they're all lovely. They're all lovely. Not my style, they're not my
No.
army, but I think they're really, really cool. It's lovely to see them.
Adepticon though,
Oh, gold, yeah.
it begins.
Oh, God. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, isn't there? There's a
yeah.
hell of a lot going on here. So where shall we start with Adepticon?
Let's kill team first, baby. It's
Shall we
squats
do-
versus
shall
the
we do
Gene
kill
Stealer
team?
cults.
Oh, I mean, it's a shame we haven't got Adam here, actually, to be honest, because these things, these Votan are fabulous,
I mean,
aren't they? I mean, the coats.
This set is just the Gruff set because Gruff likes the
Isn't it?
the Gene Stealer cults as well, if I remember.
He does. He likes
it's
the
like-
Gene Stealer cults too.
He can just buy the box
Oh.
and not have to get rid of the other set. It's just all
Absolutely.
him.
Absolutely, it's like me and those Night Lords and Mandrake one. I'm having
yeah.
that. I'm having
exactly.
that when that comes out. These guys are brilliant. They're brilliant. They've got so much character going on.
Yeah, I'm not usually a big fan of the what they call the Votan, but I think these ones look particularly nice. I think adding the weird World War II bomber jackets to them look really good.
Doesn't it look great?
Yeah.
It does something for them. It does something for their silhouettes. It just makes them look, I don't know, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting. They look like they're really rugged explorers.
Yeah, I could see that.
Don't they?
And
Yeah,
they've got really
they're-
nicely designed guns with an ammo barrel in rather than just like a
Yeah.
magazine.
That's really cool. I like that. So one of them's got a bloody crossbolt kind of thing. I
Yeah,
mean, what the
why
hell is
not?
going on there? Why not? I mean, it's Warhammer in it. It's got to be silly. So let's go full bore on that.
Yeah,
You've even got one of the little robot ones, which is great. And he's got a coat as well.
Oh yeah.
The robot's got a coat, just so he doesn't feel left out,
Which one's the robot?
It's the one with the domed head.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool, right?
Yeah. Oddly, interestingly enough, the one with the dual pistols has been given the kind of white eyes with the blue effect around him, very Stormcasty.
He has. I wonder what's going on there. Is there
robot eye?
something specific about his character or something? Maybe.
I don't know.
That might be it. I bet he's like a sharpshooter, isn't he?
Or he could
And
have
that
powers because
is
don't the
like,
Votan have runic powers and stuff or something? I can't remember.
They might. I don't know. Interesting, right? Because that normally suggests psychic ability, doesn't it?
Usually, yeah.
Either that or a bionic eye of some description.
I
But no,
don't
they
know.
are lovely. I love every single one of them. And I'm just sad that Adam isn't here to talk about them because I know he'd be very, very enthusiastic about those guys.
Definitely.
And the others as well. I mean, we've got the Gene Stealer cults as well. I mean, what I like about some of these guys is there's a real bleed over to the Imperial Guards with
Well,
these guys.
I haven't read the story because I'm stupid. I think what this is, I think this is the Imperial Guard infantry set with an upgrade sprue to make them into Gene Stealer cults.
Oh, I see.
Because I
Now,
recognize a lot of these poses.
I see. So that's really interesting in and of itself because, of course, there always has been a bleed over between the Gene Stealer cults and the Imperial Guard because, of course, they infiltrate them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense to do it, you know? Why not?
It makes perfect sense. And it's nice to see that really legitimized in the miniatures range. So it's something you can actually do, right?
Yeah. I mean, some of these you could use just for your standard Imperial Guard army because sometimes people just mutate, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the Warhammer 40,000 universe, isn't it? So
Exactly.
yeah, people just do. And also because you've got humanity drawn from across the entire universe, like from the entire galaxy. Some humans are going to look different from others.
Yeah.
You know, they're from different worlds. They have different, they grow up in different environments. So some humans are going to look very different from others. So
one of them is clearly from Arrakis because he has a tube going into his nose.
Yeah, bit of spice going on there, right?
Just give him bright blue eyes, you're done.
But no, they're very nice too. They're very, very nice. I like the standard bearer. I think he's very cool.
Yeah, the actual standard he's holding is really nice.
The icon, I love that. The Gene Stealer cult icon. Very, very nice indeed. I love the medic. Love the medic.
Medic looks really good.
I mean, you probably don't want him attending to you. Let's be honest.
I'll tell you what's annoying. That head would be really good for Necromunda as well.
Yes, it would.
Perfect Necromunda head.
Yeah. In fact, I would even use that in like my Death Guard on like a plague surgeon or something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That'd be fun. But no, it's always nice to see a new kill team. It's always nice to see a new kill team because they always do something fun with it. So yeah, and yeah, very, very nice. Should we move on?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. What have we got next?
It's the Adepticon Twisted Followers of Alariel and Nagash Battle in the Briar and Bone. This is a Warcry set.
Fun, aren't they? These are a lot of fun. I mean, the really mutated, twisted Ossiarch Bone Reapers. These are nice.
It's been a long time since we've had anything Bone Reapery as well. Long time.
Isn't it? Because like they had that big explosion when they first came out, when they were like the new shit. They were the new undead. They were the new miniatures range. And since then, we've had a few characters. We've had a few new units introduced, but nothing major.
I think it's just new characters. I don't think they've had new units. I can't think of any units. Yeah,
I think you're right. Actually, I think you're absolutely right. So it's nice to see something that's got a little bit of a different aesthetic going on. And the whole thing with these guys is they're failures, aren't they? They're like their bodies are sculpted as a punishment for their failure. So this centurion guy who's been melded with his horse, that's not a good thing for him.
It's weird because I think he looks better than like the three-headed units he gets.
Yeah, he looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think this should be lent into because I think this is there isn't a unit in here that I don't like, and most of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers I generally don't like from a sculpting point, like from a design aspect. I'm not a fan of them.
Yeah. These I think are great.
Yeah.
These are really the bone dogs. Those are wonderful. Those
puppies.
Are wonderful. Yeah, bone puppies. Spoopy stuff. And the bat things, harpies, love them. The harpies
they're
are
really good.
Favorite, actually, I think they are absolutely stunning. The head sculpts and everything. I think they're just, chef's kiss. Those are beautiful.
You know what you need to do with these, George? You need to put blades on their feet, and then they could be the worst fucking enemy in the game.
Elden Ring them, yeah.
Yep. Give them a barrel between their legs as well, and you can just scream at them. What the fuck are you? Why won't you die?
Yeah, you don't need anything else in like the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Just mass produce these things with blades on their feet, and that's all you.
Yeah, and it'll just frustrate everyone. It'll just annoy the entire other team.
Yeah.
That's why they got the dogs as well, because they know it's the worst combo. Dogs and birds in Elden Ring and Dark Souls is the worst combo.
It is oh my god, it absolutely is, isn't
sucks.
it? Something about the dogs, something about dogs in those games. They are sons of bitches, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, the Radagun dog that summons the magic as well. Maybe you could have had that as a superhero.
Yeah.
Why not? And then you've just got two normal dudes.
Two dudes.
Two dudes.
Yeah, two Ocelot Bone Reapers who are actually, I mean, they're nice. They're very decent little sculpts. But they are just dudes, aren't they? They're just like normal Ocelot Bone Reapers.
They kind of feel out of place because it's just these two, and then some really interesting ones, and then it's just two dudes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, are they the ones that are herding them along? You know,
they
that
must
are
be.
I think that's the implication.
Yeah.
I mean, of the two sets, I think I do actually prefer the Sylvaneth of these ones.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree.
That character, I think, is gorgeous. With the beehives and everything, I love this. I think this is absolutely wonderful.
I wish she was a bigger character and she had a human man that has a like a cage on his head that's screaming.
Someone's got to do that.
Yeah. If he happened to look like Nick Cage, you know, I wouldn't complain.
Someone is so going to do that. And also this is going to be turned into lots of Nurgle conversions as well.
Oh yeah, not bees but flies. Obviously. Yeah, easy.
Flies, exactly. And the whole sort of like Garden of Nurgle thing. Yeah, someone's going to turn this into like an equivalent of like a I don't know, some sort of Nurgle champion or something like that.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
But all of these are lovely. I mean, I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Sylvaneth anyway. I think the update of effectively the Wood Elves, which are so dull, into the Sylvaneth was always very successful in AOS. These are just stunning. These are gorgeous. I think they're so interesting looking. You know, that mix of the spiritual and the organic that's going on with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the fact it looks like ghosts wearing trees for armor. That's quite an interesting look to them.
It's weird and strange, and the fact that their weapons are ghostly as well. Their weapons are spectral.
Yeah,
I'm into that. I'm into that. This is like they're very much like old fairies, you know, like real fairies from the actual stories about fae things, i.e., a bit scary.
Yeah, more than a bit. I just feel bad for the one that has the spear and has like mushrooms growing off the side of his face.
Oh, bless.
He's the only one that's really got screwed over. Some of them have got like bits of twigs on their heads and it's going round his eyes, but this it's just mushrooms all over his face.
I mean, that must be a bitch, right? What a shame.
What if it's like chicken pox and it itches as well all the time?
Yeah, I bet it's uncomfortable. I bet it's inconvenient, if nothing else. The other one with the whips, the barbed, that's brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. In fact, that one I can see turning into something from the Hedonites.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can see that one very easily.
You could probably do something Idonathy and say they're squid tentacles, potentially.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And then you've got your standard dryads who are also very lovely.
Yeah, I like the tree people more.
Yeah.
That, you know, if I could just have tree people, that would be something I'd prefer more than the kind of half elf spirit stuff. Yeah. You know, I just like tree people. What is with this piece of terrain? That is bonkers, isn't it? The weird like four-limbed thumb tree with a mouth.
What is that? What's going on there?
Sometimes trees get hungry.
Apparently so.
It's almost like a sarlacc pit, but in a tree.
Yeah, and walks, apparently.
Yeah, like Baba Yaga's house.
Yes, it has that feeling, doesn't it? It really has that feeling. It's the dark side of the Sylvaneth, isn't it? The dark fairy tale stuff.
It's either that. It feels orky because I say it feels orky because it's got two orc skulls on the left and right of it. So it could be an orc thing as well. It's definitely not an Ossiarch Bone Reaper thing though. Clearly,
no, it is so not Ossiarch Bone.
Yeah, it's an interesting set. I think we've seen Warcry sets that have more interesting set pieces.
Mhm.
to go along with it, but it's fairly
Yeah,
good.
no.
I don't think these are good as the Gorges that we saw a while ago either. I think they're really good. But
They were
generally,
very.
this is a solid set overall.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I like both. I like both sides in it.
Mm.
Most of the miniatures I really, really like. It's a nice enough set.
I will say I don't think the bees are going to do too much to skeletons, though.
No, I mean they're going to have to be really like special types of bee, aren't they?
Super
To have
bees.
any
Yeah.
effect at all. I mean, related, we also have Warhammer Underworlds as well,
To a lesser extent.
to a lesser extent.
But
Yeah.
with some really nice miniatures,
I mean,
as
like
usual.
really bonkers. I mean, really, absolutely bonkers. I mean, this first set, which is ostensibly Cities of Sigmar related, is insane. They're so Dark Souls inspired.
Are they what are they meant to be from? Are they from like the Inquisition kind of religious torturers kind of thing? Is that what they're meant to be, or are they
Yes,
something
they're
else?
they are a fanatical Sigmarite cult,
Ah,
basically.
okay.
But they worship Sigmar in his aspect as like the Lord of Lightning. Hence
Ah,
all of the the heightened lightning poles that they've got to attract the thunder.
right.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. These things, I mean, I love this. This is, for me, this is how the human characters should look in AOS. Really over the top, really bonkers. This is the aesthetic I kind of want for the Dawnbringer Crusades, where you've got all of these weird, crazy, self-mutilating little cults of Sigmar.
Mm.
I particularly like the big character. I think he's ace.
The one that's kind of got like a midget on his shoulders or whatever that's
Yeah.
meant to be.
Whatever's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this the Mad Max 2 kind of thing? Whatever that combo was.
Master Blaster.
That's it.
thing.
Yeah, is it Master Blaster?
It could be that. Yeah, it could be that. Either way, whatever's going on, I'm in. I think it's
fun.
great.
I kind of like the old man who looks like he's crazy. He looks like he's got the long beard, and it kind of reminds me of what Jafar looked like in Aladdin. When he was disguised as a prisoner.
Yeah, he has got that feeling about him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like proper, like Old Testament fanatic. Yeah.
And oddly enough, the one with the most bandages, because of the way the face looks like it's sculpted, reminds me of Frankenstein Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
It
only
does have, yes.
you can only because I think that's where De Niro had a bandage, and I think the jaw looks similar. I don't know, might be stretching, but that's
Interesting.
what makes me think of. And then you got the cool ghoul set, another really cool ghoul set for Underworlds.
Yeah.
I've just done an Underworlds ghoul set, and now we've got another one.
Right? And now
Yeah.
you've got another one as well, and it's also very nice.
I won't be getting this because this is going to be like the Graveguard, where it's just like we're only releasing it in this set, and if you don't get it, tough. And I'm like, oh well,
That's it. You're
Never
done,
mind.
right? You're done.
never
Which is
mind.
a shame because the sculpts are really nice.
Yeah.
They're very distinct for ghouls. I particularly like the sort of female cook ghoul. I think that's really great.
Reminds me a little bit of Matilda from Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Just needs a bigger chopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like them.
Yeah, it's a very, very decent set, is that one. In fact, both of them are. It's a very, very nice box.
It's just a shame it's Underworlds, as I always say.
Yeah, makes it a bit
You'll
limited.
get to. I've given you an Underworld set, George, so you'll be able to find out when you play with somebody in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll play it once and then go, never
Will that
again.
be it? Yeah, will that be it?
You might love it. I don't know. Maybe you'll love it.
And next up, we've got another old world preview.
Yes.
Oh my God,
Dwarves
it's
are coming.
This is what you were talking about before, right? It's the old dwarfs.
Yeah. Well, these are going to go against the orcs because the orcs are getting the set. So now the
Mhm.
dwarves are getting the set, which makes
But
sense.
there's a lot of new stuff as well for these guys, right?
Is there?
Yeah, I think so. So aren't some of these characters new?
Oh,
Four.
the characters will probably be new. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are 4 new character models apparently, and everything else is sort of classic.
Yeah.
Some of it's very classic, like some of
Very.
it really, really old.
Yeah.
The new Dwarf Lord miniatures are fantastic. Again, it's a shame Gruff isn't here because he's got a thing for the dwarfs in the same way that he does for the Votan, right?
That's right.
I'm sure he'd really appreciate these. The guy who's being hefted up on his shield.
Is that an old one or a new one?
That's a new one.
Is
That's
it?
a new
Okay.
one. That is so a new sculpt.
Oh
that
yeah.
is.
No, I'm looking. I saw it in the video, and now I'm looking at it now. It's like, yeah. Oh, it even says new miniatures.
Yeah,
the,
you can
the
tell that's a
story.
new sculpt. I mean,
Excuse me.
it's too elaborate. It's too, but it's freaking gorgeous. It's freaking gorgeous. I don't normally go for like the old fantasy battle dwarfs, but wow, that is something else.
Do you think if you had this model, you would like cut him off the shield and attach magnets to his feet so you could like bonk him off?
That would be fun, wouldn't it? So you could actually knock him off the shield, yeah?
Yeah, because
That would
this
be
looks very impractical to fight on top of a shield.
It's a very impractical way of traveling and fighting, isn't it? But hey, it's
Yeah, it's the dwarfs. That's what they do.
it
They
is
don't.
the way of things. It is the way of things. I'm
They're very
afraid.
dangerous over short distances. That's all you can say.
Very apparently so. Apparently so. And then there's the other little dwarf lord down below with his horned helmet, who is on foot.
And scaled dragon, drake, lizard, cold one hide on his back, which is quite nice.
I think so.
Yeah.
I love his axe, actually. That's really nice because, like, obviously in the older sculpts, they just had normal weapons. They couldn't sculpt the weapons to make them look dwarvish,
Super fancy, yeah.
Yeah, these look amazing. They look absolutely incredible.
2 rubies in there. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why
not? And there's also a Slayer as well, with an axe that's as big as he is. Like the head of the axe is as big as he is.
It's just a Slayer Lord, right? It's not oh god, what's his name?
Oh,
There
it's
is-
not. No,
What's his
it's
name?
not a character.
There is a Slayer Lord who is a character, and I can't remember.
Yeah. There's a
I can't
couple.
remember
but
his name, but whatever.
It's not him. It's just no. This is just a Slayer Lord. I think anyway. Hang on. It is. Is that Ungrim? Is it Ungrim?
Ungrim, that's his bloody name.
It is Ungrim, isn't it? That.
To be fair, I thought it looked like Ungrim because it had his mohawk, but I could easily believe it's just a Slayer Lord as well. But yeah, it says he's still the Slayer King of Karadrin, which is
so it is. It is Ungrim. It
Has
is
to
Ungrim.
be.
In that
Well,
case.
or it's like Ungrim's dad or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Or like a very miniature Magnus the Red. Like a very miniature Magnus the Red.
Are you saying he just needs some angel wings?
I mean, yeah, you could stick some wings on him and put him on Magnus' base as a familiar, couldn't you?
That'd be great, yeah.
That'd be kind of fun, I think.
And you've got
But
the other
everything
dwarf with a big winged helmet and gun, which is quite fancy.
And a gun, like a blunderbuss, yeah, which is nice. He looks, I mean, his whole aesthetic is almost like Nordic. He's got this like Odin thing going on, which I really like.
And then it's just the returning plastic kits. So a rune, rune smith, rune lord.
I think so. I think so. Now that, interestingly, is it's an old sculpt, but it's one of the later old sculpts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks newer than what I would expect.
Yeah, definitely. That's from the end of Fantasy Battle, I think, that
End
one.
times kind of deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Thinking so. Everything else, on the other hand, is ancient. It's
dwarf warriors, dwarf warriors with double-handed axes.
Yeah.
Crossbowmen, riflemen.
Wow.
Iron drakes and balls. What are they called? The heavily armored dwarves. It's not the old. It's not the grudge bringers.
I can't. Grudge bearers? Is that no?
I can't remember. Maybe it's them again. Gruff, where the fuck are you?
Yeah, we need Gruff for
this.
But wow.
And then hammers as well. Just like a big batch of hammers.
Just
So those are all the plastic ones returning. Then there's Forge World resin kits as well. On top of
there are, which is kind of interesting. I mean, that one with the banner is beautiful. I love
like the
that
banner.
one.
I don't really like any of the sculpts of the dwarves. It looks slightly strange.
Fight,
like the faces look weird, I find.
Mm-hmm. The Slayer definitely doesn't look right, does he?
Yeah, it's like his face is slanted or droopy slightly.
Yeah, there's something very off going on there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
The standard bearer, I don't mind. I like it. I like the fact that he's got his pipe. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. The other one just looks really old and tired with life
Oh
on the
Jesus!
left-hand
I've just
side.
looked down the page and I've looked at some of like the really old stuff.
Ooh, yeah, the
And I
first
mean,
metal kit. What's the first metal kit? What is that?
the forge thing.
Yeah, what is that?
That was a mobile terrain piece from sort of what I can't remember what era we're talking about, but it's sort of like fifth, sixth ed, I think, for that one.
It looks really old because the proportions on them look more like
Yeah,
the Lost Vikings.
yeah, it is. Yeah, very much so, very much so. Further down, that these guys are even older. These slayers, that slayer on the bottom right, that
The one with the
I
axe.
remember that I think is a marauder sculpt.
That, yeah, I mean, these all look like they could be 30 years old.
Yeah, yeah, and some of them definitely are. Some of them definitely are. I remember seeing that one on the bottom right in the old back catalogues of White Dwarf, unpainted, as a lead miniature. So,
Oh,
oh yeah, that is
well, if you want them, they're coming back. There's
yeah.
also what's the
Wow.
one underneath that? Prince Ulther and his
That is
dragon
a
company. I've
regiment
never
of
heard of
renown.
that.
Yeah, it's a regiment of renown. That is
Ah,
from a long, long time. So mercenaries, you could take them
yeah,
in
yeah.
certain different Warhammer armies,
Hmm.
and again old.
Yeah, the proportions on these ones look more like the gnomes from Blood Bowl that we're talking about right at the start of
Yeah,
the show. Like
this
proportionally.
is like this is a different aesthetic of
Very.
dwarf, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
this is from a long time ago. As you can
I,
see, the shields they're all one piece, right?
yeah, I can see why you said that all, dwarves and gnomes
Oh,
couldn't exist because
you
they
could.
literally look the same. If
They
this
look.
is what they were doing around the same-ish kind of
Can you
time period.
imagine like getting a dwarf and gnome army fighting one another? It'd be insane. You just wouldn't be able to tell whose miniatures were whose, right?
And
But no,
that's all of them, I guess. I think there'll probably be more. Because
oh yeah,
they'll have to show off like your grudge throwers, your cannons, your organ
yeah.
guns. They have to be coming. There's no way they're not.
Oh,
I mean, in
yeah.
the box set's got like the gyrocopter and the gyro bomber as well. So
hmm
box set seems to be okay.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks fairly interesting. No, I mean, again, the dwarves are not my thing, but I appreciate this. I appreciate the fact that people have got it, and it's
Yeah,
going to be fun.
yeah,
Um, moving on. Now this is more my steez, obviously. We've got a little bit of a Chaos Space Marine preview, which is nice because, of course, we are getting their codex relatively soon. The new Chaos Lord.
yeah.
Love it.
Feels like it's been a
Love
while
it.
since we've had a chaos lord, like just a
The
standard
last,
lord, right?
the last standard Lord was the one the sculpt that came in Blackstone Fortress. So
Even that was still a while ago, and
even that was a while.
that never got re-released outside of Blackstone Fortress.
Exactly. So your standard Chaos Lord, we haven't had one for a long, long time,
Mm.
and definitely not a good one. This is beautiful. They've
Yeah,
moved it more towards like the Slaves to Darkness AOS aesthetic.
yeah. I
So
was
he just
gonna
looks
say
more,
he looks very AOS-y,
he
which is not
does.
a bad
I
thing.
mean, not a bad thing at all. With a little bit of like part changing, you could have him as a Chaos Lord in AOS, no problem.
Yeah,
No problem. He would work. And I love him. I think he is absolutely beautiful. I also like the fact that they've given him a few more options, which, because they tend to be limited by what miniatures you can get.
mm.
You get the options that are with the miniatures. And because there hasn't been a Chaos Lord for the last couple of editions, they've been a bit limited in what they can take. This guy has loads of options. As you can see from the different sculpts and whatnot, you've got like a demonic hammer, a mace, a power fist, a plasma pistol, different head sculpts and whatnot. Very pretty. But the big thing that Chaos players are going nuts over is they've reintroduced the Chaos Lord with jump pack. Oh,
I didn't even think that was a thing.
oh yeah. Why they
So
took
how
it
old
away?
is that?
Well, this is new. This miniature's
No,
new.
no. I mean, like the last Chaos jump pack with
Oh,
Lord
we've
with
had
jump pack.
oh, up until very recently, up until like what was the edition where they took them away? I think it was 8th ed they took them away
Right.
because there was no they discontinued the miniature for them.
Oh.
And so they just didn't reintroduce them. And it's like, well, that's stupid. You can't have, I mean, for one thing, there's an entire legion that all the fluff about them says that their Chaos Lords wear jump packs, which is the Night Lord. All the fluff about them says that, you know? Not only that, but there's always been a Chaos Lord with jump pack, and it doesn't make sense for there not to be. Why wouldn't a Chaos Lord think to wear a jump pack? Why wouldn't you have like a Raptor Lord or a Walk Talon Lord or something like that? So reintroducing it for 10th ed is gorgeous because it just unlocks a lot more potential. It means that we can have a character in our Raptors and our Walk Talons, and you can have a more mobile force. You know, that's lovely.
Well, clearly the second image that they used was a Night Lord's one. So,
yes.
Like you say, it seems like they knew that they messed up, and like, here you go.
Oh, people have been clamoring for it for ages.
I bet.
They've just been like, well, why do we not have a character with a jump pack? It doesn't make any sense, you know?
This will go really nicely along with the kill team then, won't it?
Wouldn't it just? I mean, it could be derived from that, couldn't it? It could be part of that.
Why?
Really.
I just mean you pick up the kill team set, and you pick up this guy as well, and you've not got a force, but you've got the beginnings of one to come along, I
You've
suppose.
got the beginnings, absolutely. And there's a little teaser down here. So the new book, it looks like the new Codex Chaos Space Marines might be the biggest codex thus far.
Oh.
It's got 8 detachments in it, which is more than any codex thus far.
How much do they usually have, for those not aware?
Well, they've normally got between 5 and 6. You know, they've normally got 5 or 6, depending on how many variants exist within that army, you know? So obviously, like the supplements, like the Dark Angels one doesn't have as many. I think it has 4 because, you know, there obviously aren't that many variations within the Dark Angels.
Yeah.
But the Space Marine one has 5, I think. That are redolent of the Loyalist legions. You know, they're redolent of they're not specific to, but they're redolent of the Imperial Fists, the White Scars, the Raven Guard, the Iron Hands, etc. This one is going to be the same. So you're going to get a detachment that's redolent of the Undivided Legion. So the Black Legion, the Iron Warriors, the Alpha Legion, the Word Bearers. And then what else? That's what's going to be what's so interesting, right?
Well, if I remember, you said there's the rumors that of something that won't be in this book.
I mean, this is the scuttlebutt. Take it with a pinch of salt because it is only scuttlebutt at the moment. But the what's floating around out there at the moment is, unlike before, the Emperor's children are not in it, which is great.
Yeah.
That is absolutely wonderful because that means if it's true, they're coming in 10th. Maybe not until the end.
Yeah.
But it means they are coming, which is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, we can guess what the other detachments are going to be. One of them is going to be the Agents of Bile, my guess, or redolent of the Agents of Bile. And the other one is going to be like a Renegade detachment. So it's going to be like the Red Corsairs.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be Red Corsairs, or do you think it will be generic Renegade, and then you can just kind of say whatever?
It'll be generic Renegade, but it will be, you know, they'll have a bit of Red Corsairs artwork with it, you know? I mean, it tells you what one of the others is going to be, and that's the Devotees of Fashtor, the Archifane.
Oh, that makes
so
sense.
It's going to be kind of Dark Mechanicus themed.
Yeah.
Lots of demon engines would be my guess. That's nice. That's really nice. I mean, you can see what 2 of the detachments are going to be from the box sets, right? Because they're based on the. So you've got the Veterans of the Long War, which is the one I'm going to get.
That's a nice set.
Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? It's the Black Legion set. That is the Black Legion. It's the elite of the elite of the elite. So it's Terminators, it's Chosen, it's Possessed, it's all the nastiest stuff in the Codex, just rammed together in a detachment. That's the detachment where you don't bother trying to take objectives. You try to wipe out the enemy army.
Yeah.
And with the units you've got in there, you can probably manage it, to be honest. 2 units of Chaos Terminators in there, and they are hard. They are nasty. And the other one, the Dread Talons, well, that's the Night Lords style box set.
Is
It's
it?
the
Oh
it's the
yeah, yeah,
Raptors,
yeah.
it's the Warp Talons, it's the scary stuff. There's a big demon. Actually, that's a lovely set as well. It's got the big demon prince. It's got those lovely mutated cultists and whatnot.
With
That's a
the
very nice set too.
Yeah, you've got just like standard cultists with the bolters and the weapons, and then you've got the spawn. Were the spawn sold
Yes,
separately, or were they in a box
they
set? I can't remember how they were
actually
sold.
they they aren't spawn. Actually, they are the new types of cultists. They're called
Oh,
what accursed cultists, and they
ah,
spontaneously mutate
right. Because
as the
I
battle
remember
goes.
we'd seen those models ages ago, but I couldn't
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
if they were
they're
like
very.
sold in a set or if they were on their own.
Oh, they're in a set. They're
Oh,
in a set. Those guys, I think. And
I
then you've
thought
got
so.
the Dark Commune as well.
Yeah, they were pretty
The
neat as well.
They're lovely. In fact, they're one of the sleeper hits of the index by all accounts.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're really, really good unit. But no, actually that's very elite too. It looks like that's going to be the theme for the Chaos Space Marines, like really small but very hard hitting.
Well, at least for these battle forces that they're
At
selling
least
you.
for these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, that's what you want from Chaos Space Marines. To be honest, that's what they've always been.
Yeah.
At the most ideal. Very, very nice to see. What else have we got going on? Oh, there's a new. This is interesting. A new Chaos miniature from AOS.
Yes, to go along with the Dawnbringers book
Yeah,
6, Hound of
yeah.
Chaos.
I mean, I'm still surprised those books are still going on. I for some reason I had it in my head that there's only going to be 4 of them.
Well, there was for the last one, so it makes logical
Yeah,
sense that this one. But
uh,
no, we got the Bird Woman last for number 5, and
yeah,
now Chaos Dude for number 6.
yeah. I Chaos Lady, I think this
Is
is.
it Chaos
I
Lady?
know. Yeah, it's Chaos, so it's hard to tell sometimes, but I believe so. I believe this is a female Chaos champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Braxia.
I love
Uh,
the lizard she's on.
oh, great. I mean, I think she's great. It's a lovely Chaos miniature, that one. Um, yeah, and apparently there is an add-on army list in the book that lets you take. She can lead an entire army of Varangard.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's mental. Have you seen how hard the Varangard are?
No, not at
Like
all.
how nasty they are? Each one of them's like the equivalent of a hero from another army.
All right. Yeah,
They
it's
are
pretty strong.
monsters. They're monsters. So an army of them is gonna be nasty. You're gonna
Mm.
have to work hard to deal with them. I can tell you.
And a terrain piece as well, it seems like she comes
Yes,
with. Or not with, but you can buy as well.
yeah, that's one of the best chaos terrain pieces I've ever seen.
The
Actually, It's
Nexus
really great.
Chaotica.
I mean, yeah, it's great, and it's so
What
I
a
mean,
cheesy name.
so over the top,
I love
so
it.
over the top, so silly. Love it to bits. Love it to bits.
Reminds
Big
me a
float.
little bit of the Dark Crystal, but then with a
Yep,
chaos signal or a symbol around it, which is quite fun.
yeah, definitely got that feeling about it.
Yeah.
Definitely got that feeling. Like it a lot. I mean, it's chaos. I'm predisposed to like it.
Mhm.
So, can't help that, I'm afraid. What else have we got going on? Oh yeah, oh yeah, of course, we've got previews for the new edition of
That's right.
AOS.
Yeah.
Fourth edition, yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe that.
Got the movie. Well, the cinematic
Yeah,
trailer, I
which
suppose.
was actually really nice, wasn't it? It was a nice little bit
Yeah.
of fun, and it was nice to see like the Skaven getting a little bit of yeah.
I don't think it was that good of a trailer, to be
Yeah,
honest. No.
I kind of enjoyed it. I mean,
I can see
I
why.
like the Skaven. I'm a fan, and it's
Sure.
nice to be back.
That
It's
wasn't my problem. My
Hmm?
my issue with it was so what is this edition about that you can tell me from watching the trailer?
Oh, from watching the trailer, yeah. What's the narrative?
Yeah, there's no push. The narrative that you get is the Stormcast, when they die, they become less human. If
Mhm.
you've been playing the game since Soul Wars, you know this. This
You
is
know
not
that,
new.
yeah.
This is not new.
Yeah, you are aware of that fact. I mean, are
There's
they
no
going to be
story
like,
push. There was, if you're asking
yeah,
me, the trailer should have been talking about the skittering, the scurrying. Maybe you have like a Cities of Sigmar dude like listening to a wall. And like he can
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
drilling or scratching on the wall. And it's like there's something lurking behind the corners of the realm, ready to burst through once again. And then you have the Skaven come through, but it wasn't about the Skaven. The Skaven were just the big battle center focus at the end, which, because there was no narrative for them in the trailer, could just be the Skaven coming out for a fight randomly for no particular reason.
Yeah, yeah.
But the visuals were really good. I just didn't think it had any narrative push.
Which is a shame, because it looks like there is narrative going on
there
here.
Definitely is. Yeah, 100%.
So, like, there's this whole thing about the Skaven Undercity erupting into Akshi, which is really nice. That's really cool. The Horned Rat is now a full-fledged member of the Chaos Pantheon. Apparently.
And Mr. Gruff said this might lead to a Chaos Civil War, which would be quite fun to see.
Apparently, that's one of the rumors floating around.
Yeah.
That what's going to happen is you're going to get chaos kind of turning in on itself, but as a result of, because of course chaos is everywhere, it's going to draw everything else into it. Obviously, you can't escape that if that's going to happen. That might even be worse than chaos focusing on the mortal elements of the mortal realms. So yeah, interesting.
What I really want to happen is I want the Skaven to almost win, and then the Gash fucks them over.
Oh, so it inverts it.
Yeah, and he goes, got you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
At long last, I win.
Yeah.
I win.
Finally, you little furry bastards.
Because to be fair, he's owed it, isn't he?
Yeah, the problem is he keeps forgetting about it, but yeah, I'd like to see, because it would feel cathartic. Just one win.
It would. Just once. It would be nice if he undermined them in secret, right?
I'd like it.
Yeah.
But visually, the trailer is visually very, very good. I just think it's missing the narrative push behind it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, a trailer should be, as best you can, it should set up what the narrative is going to be for that edition as best you can, kind of thing.
Yeah. And as you know, it is a shame that it doesn't have that narrative push, because it's there, isn't it? It looks like it's going to be there in the edition. Let's hope so, eh?
I hope so.
Let's certainly hope so. And we've got from the trailer some suggestions of what the new Skaven range is going to be. I mean, it's obviously going to focus quite heavily on war machinery, engines and things like that, which is cool.
As it
That's
should.
really cool. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it, actually. We've had a few little dribs and drabs of what the new edition is going to be like, and very different. I mean, it looks very different from what's gone before. I have an inkling that it's going to be closer to what 10th Ed 40K is, because it's proved very successful. People like it generally.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. But even then, it looks like there are going to be differences. So there's this whole thing of it being a modular gaming system. So you have your core rules, and then if you want to complexify it by adding in things like magic and stuff like that, then you can, but you don't have to.
Okay.
That's very interesting. And it is going to be close to 10th Ed 40K, because they talk about universal special rules are back in, which, for 10th Ed 40K, that has been brilliant. That's just been such a boon, because you don't have all of these like different versions of the same rule, but just slightly worded differently all over the bloody place.
Right. I do remember hearing a kerfuffle about weapon ranges being changed. So all weapon ranges are 3 inches or something like that. Is that right?
Well, what it is, it's not the weapon range. That's that's engagement range. So that's the range you need to be for your miniatures to be able to engage one another, like in a battle, in a fight, But the range of the weapons will be in the weapon profile, like they are in 40K, presumably.
Right. Okay.
So it's interesting. I don't know enough about it just yet, because they haven't given us many specifics.
That's the thing, yeah. It's just like every time a new edition comes out, people get angry before there's actually anything to get angry about, really, because we don't actually have the rules.
We don't know yet. We just don't know. And like, if it does follow the pattern of 10th Ed, then I'm in. because 10th 40k is brilliant. It really, I mean, barring a few minor, things that need to be tightened up here and there, it's a brilliant edition of the game. It's definitely the best that we've had for years, years and years and years and years. And if this does the same with AOS, great, I'm in.
I like the idea of it. I won't be able to play it, but I like the idea of it.
I mean, Battle Shock isn't in it, apparently. That's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no Battle Shock. So there'll be something else. Like there is, like they did this with 10th Ed 40k. So they removed like the morale phase, but they introduced what is now called Battle Shock in 10th Ed.
Oh, interesting.
So it'll probably be the same here. It'll be the same here. So if your army, if your unit like loses the equivalent of a leadership check or whatever, then it won't be able to hold objectives or whatever. It won't be able to receive commands. That will be the kind of thing, I would guess.
Yeah, because the Nighthaunt will need something that is fear-based. Well, they'll need something because, goddamn, the Nighthaunt have been shit since second edition when they were introduced. They've never been good.
When they were introduced, they've never been good. I've
never
done them justice,
No.
and it's such a shame because they're one of the best miniatures ranges.
I like it.
I love them. I think they're great. I think they are just a nice, interesting addition to the undead. And you would have thought, given that they were a whole new miniatures range, they'd have thrown something at them, wouldn't you? They'd have really made like the Ossiarchs, right? But they didn't. They never have. They never figured out how to make them work.
No, I guess it's difficult. Spooky ghosts. How do you make spooky ghosts?
Yes.
Not broken. Because if you make them intangible, then how do you kill them?
How do you harm them? Yeah. But maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's how to do them. Make it so they're hard to hit, so they're hard to somehow hard to wound. Hard to disperse.
I don't know.
It's hard. It's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one.
Maybe this will be their addition.
Yeah. Who knows? Right? Who knows? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And I think, is that it for us?
As far as I know, yeah, I think we managed to crack through all of it. That's a lot of stories we've gone through today.
We did quite well there, I think, Andy. We cracked on really, really well there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot going on. Hopefully, I mean, we'll pick up a bit more of a more regular schedule. All being well,
Yeah, hopefully. When's the next kind of big Warhammer thing? Do we know?
Oh,
is it like a convention or a big thing happening anytime soon, or have we got a bit of a wait before the next biggie?
So. I don't think so, because the Adepticon was the one.
Yeah.
But there will be. I mean, obviously, the stuff coming. There's releases to talk about and whatnot. There'll be the new codices and.
I just want to know when they're gonna, because they've revealed 4th edition for AOS. When are they gonna show the Skaven?
Yeah.
Like when are the model? When's that happening? That's why I'm interested in.
They are playing that suspiciously close to their chests, aren't they? It's interesting that they haven't decided to show anything yet.
I was sad that it was the trailer, but then like nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else, right? They are clearly going to be one of the flagship armies for 4th edition.
Yeah, they have to be in the box set, clearly.
Obviously. So it's going to be an entire like miniatures range overhaul. It's going to be huge. So
I'd say the latest they can show that off, like the box set, the latest has to be like a convention around September, August time, whatever the closest one to that is. I don't think you can wait too much longer.
No, and that is like the latest. That's the latest. It's got to be. I mean, I would think it's got to be. They're going to start drip feeding stuff relatively soon. I would have thought.
I would have thought so. Yeah. To be fair, I thought they would have shown it along with the trailer, but that's not the case.
I expected to have, to at least have pictures of them floating around now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't been leaked. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, and maybe next time, Gruff will maybe be able to join us. Certainly hope so.
Oh yeah.
Well, Andy, have you got anything you want to pimp out before we go?
Just the usual, Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast on YouTube. Just type in Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast into most places. You'll find me tomorrow, Sunday. 8 o'clock. No, 8 o'clock UK time. I stream live to do it, or you can find us on iTunes and stuff. And then I just do streaming most of the time on Twitch and YouTube. Decayed Andy. 10 o'clock, 10:15 UK time in the evening. You want to watch me play video games, I suppose. Yourself, George?
Brilliant. You can find me knocking about over on Exaggerated Elegy on YouTube, where I do video game let's plays. I do podcasts about cinema and horror fiction and media. I do a running series about Brian Fuller's Hannibal with my friends Elliot Chapman and Jack Graham. And
How
we
far
go
are you
episode
through?
by episode. We are just at the end of season 1. We're just about to do Savaro, the final episode of season 1.
It was 3
moving
seasons,
on.
right? Was it 2?
There are 3 seasons. There are 3 seasons.
You're a third of the way done.
We are. It's going to be sad when it's done because it is the best television show ever made, and I'll brook no argument on it. You can find links to all of my published work. I write horror, science fiction, and fantasy short stories. You can find links to all of my short story collections over at strangeplaygrounds.com. And if you go on to Amazon, and type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my author page, which also has links to all of my published work and all of the collections and anthologies that I've been published in, which is quite a few now, actually. I'm building up a little bit of a repertoire there. If you go over to gingernutsofhorror.com, you will find the ongoing non-fiction series, My Life in Horror, which I inherited from the author Kit Power. It's essentially a series of articles and essays looking at horror fiction and media and the effects that it had on my development, my imagination, and all of that kind of thing. It's kind of fun. If you go to Arrow Films, you will find the new Hellraiser UHD and Blu-ray set, The Quartet of Torment, and myself and Kit feature on the Hellbound disc. We are on the extra featurette, Hell is What They Wanted, which is an hour and 40-minute chat that we had about Hellraiser and Clive Barker and dark fiction and horror and all that kind of thing. I think that's it for me, Andy. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. That was great.
Thank you, George, as well. Thank you.
Not a problem. And until next time, guys. Bye.
Streaming